Code. Okay. Alright, so I think since I hit record, you guys have to hit accept on whatever pop-up you just got, and then I will upload it to YouTube, I guess. I don't know. I'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. So I'm not entirely sure how Professor Ryba operates his class or like what topics you have guys gotten up to yet. So I guess we can just kind of go with majority vote. So in the chat, if y'all can just, put whatever topic you want to go over most, and then we can do an example question on that topic. Gave you guys loops. Okay, so yeah, I guess everyone put in the chat what kind of question you want to put, and yeah, don't direct message it to me, just put it in the chat. Loops, patterns, nested loops, ors, nands, pattern printing. Okay. And again, remember, don't message me, don't direct message me, just put it in the chat. Where you'll be posting the recording, I'll probably just post it to YouTube, and then I'll also have I will just send out kind of like link to the, and yeah, yeah, no problem. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of pattern questions, so let's see what we can bring up here. Board. And is there a specific pattern question you guys would like to do, or because I know that Professor Ryba gave you guys a bunch of example questions. Um, I don't think he'd be giving like I don't think he would give you guys like those tough ones where you're printing like a W or anything like that. Um, but if there's like a specific one that you see there that you're having some trouble with, diamond pattern, which one? Which do you know which question that is? Let's see. I guess we could just go over a general one, problem two, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So we see that problem two is a fill in the blank question. So you guys will get one of those questions that you'll get. Again, I believe this is how it is for all the CS111 classes. It'll be output, fill in the blank, full programming, and then just a pattern question. But one of those fill in the blanks can also be a pattern question, which this one is, right? So let me just open up my whiteboard and I'll share my screen. There we go. And I believe someone has their mic unmuted. If you all can just mute your mic. Screen one. Actually, I'll just make myself my board. All right. I can't see the chat anymore since I'm sharing my screen, but if y'all can give me just like a reaction emoji, if y'all can see my screen. You guys are able to send that. Yeah, there we go. All right, thank you. And then I'll also go ahead and grab the question we're on. So problem one, problem two. All right, so this is the question that we're on right now. Problem two of uh, the questions that he provided. And it says the following program asks to the user to enter a number n. It then prints a picture showing a triangle that points to the right, points that way, that has 2n minus 1 rows and n columns. For example, if n is equal to 4, the program would print, we see this has 4 columns. Oh, let me change the color of my, put that over there, black, okay. So yeah, we see it has 4 columns and 7 rows, right? I haven't yet to understand as much of this. Yeah, so we'll go a bit in depth. with this. I don't think he'll ask you guys the really hard questions. So we won't do that one too much, but we'll see. Right? So we are given some piece of code and they've been replaced by part A, part B, and so on, right? And to answer these 5 parts of the question, you should apply the C++ code that was replaced, and each answer must fit on a single line. That means that you can't put like 2 lines to answer it, just 1 line of code with a semicolon at the end, and that's it. Ooh, drop my pen, right? So here we say, sorry. So here we see in our main program, we are taking in a number. Sorry, we're creating a variable called n. We're printing to the user what is n, and in part A, we have to do something, right? So let's check what part A, let me actually bring up this part here. And I see y'all are already got the answer, but let me just paste it right here, right? So at part A, y'all already saying, yep, it's going to be sin n, right? Because we're asking the user what is n, and then we're telling them to input the number, right? And then we have this double for loops, or it's called a nested for loop, where the outside the outside for loop is meant to represent the rows, and the inside for loop is meant to represent the columns. Okay. So we see in this question prompt, remember that it says that we want n rows. Sorry, oh wait, no. We want n 2 times n minus 1 rows and n columns. Okay. So from that, what do we think we have to put for our conditional statement in our first for loop? We're starting at 1, and we want it to go to a certain number. We know what that number is based on right here. So what do we think is going to be placed in part B? Row is less than or equal to 2n minus 1. Yeah, so Kevin got it, but there's one part that's incorrect. Where yes, it's r is less than or equal to 2n minus 1, but remember you have to do 2 times n minus 1, and then r plus plus. And you don't have to put that, oh, but I just, there we go. You don't have to put that semicolon again. Sorry, not semicolon, that parentheses again, because that's already there. Um, so let's just go ahead and erase that. But yeah, we're starting at 1, and we're going all the way to 2n minus 1. So let's say n was equal to 4. And it's going to do 2 times 4, which is 8 minus 1. And we're going to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then stop. Okay. So now we have this for loop that's running 2n minus 1 times. And then we want our column for loop. We want that to run n times. So what do we think is going to be part C? We see Kevin, he answered C is less than or equal to n. C is less than or equal to n. And then C plus plus, right? Because we're going from 1 all the way to n. So 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Okay. But let's say for this example, instead of starting at 1, let's say instead it started at 0. If that started at 0, then what would be the answer for part C? Be similar, but you would have to change something. What do you guys think that would be? No equal, right? Because we can just go here and get rid of that. Like that, right? C is less than n. Because if we're starting at 0 and going up to C is less than or equal to n, then we're actually going to have an extra loop that we don't want. So to get rid of that, we just take our equal, remove it, and then we go from 0, 1, 2, 3, not including 4, which that's 4 times. And if we start at 1, we want equals because then that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 times, not including 5. But let's say we start at 1 and we don't have an equal sign. That's just going to be 1, 2, 3. And that loop is only going to run 3 times and not 4 because we don't go to 4. Okay. But that was just general knowledge assessment. So then here we can just go ahead and put our equal sign back. Could you add another condition starting C is greater than 0, or would that not work? Are you saying like C is greater than or equal to 0 and C is less than or equal to n? Like that? You could if you wanted to, but that's just kind of redundant. Because our we already started C at 1, so that doesn't really matter. All we're worrying about is if C is less than or equal to n. So if you wanted to, you could, but again, that doesn't really do anything for you because there won't be a point in time where, or at least in this question, there won't be a point in time when C will go below 0. There might be, in some programs that might happen, but that's very conditional, right? But in this question here, we don't have to do that. Good question though. All right. And then part D, it says we want to test whether we want to print a star. Right there, right? So the best way that I would do this is we want to first write down an output of that. So 1, 2, 3. Let's say n is equal to 4. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 4 columns. That okay. Does anyone have any questions why we printed it that way at n is equal to 4, or are we good? Good? Okay. And now what we can do with this drawing is kind of, yeah, thank you for the thumbs up. What we can do with this drawing is divide it, right? So if we do like that, sorry, I had to draw in lines. Okay, and then let's just kind of, that way, that way, that way, and that way, okay? And then from there, once we kind of make a little diagram and kind of make a grid, from there we want to put our indices. So we know each part starts at 1. Okay. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And just to make it easier to understand, let me get rid of this. Okay. What was the if condition? We're finding that out right now. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Anytime you draw these diagrams, it's always best to just start it at 1 and then go to whatever the endpoint is on both sides. And then from there, if you can't find something to compare those indices with, then you can try and switch it up by, maybe starting the rows at n and going all the way down to 1. If that doesn't work, then maybe try switching the columns to start at n and go all the way down to 1. And if that doesn't work, try putting them both starting at n and going all the way down to 1, right? So from here, I guess we can start by saying what comparisons can be made at the top, right? At the top, we see, let me get a highlighter. At the top, we see that at index 1 for both the row and the column, or printing a star, But at index 2 and index 1 for the for sorry, index 2 for the column and index 1 for the row, we don't print, we don't print, we don't print. So we're seeing that whenever the column is greater than our row value, then we don't want to print, right? Another example here we see at column 1, row 2, we're printing. At column 2, row 2, we're printing. But at column 3, row 2, we're not printing. And at column 4, row 2, we're not printing. And again, column 1, row 3, we're printing. Column 2, row 3, we're printing. Column 3, row 3, we're printing. But then at column 4, row 3, we're not printing. And again, it works all the way here because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is all less than or equal to 4, right? So from that, we can kind of say if something involving R and C, then we print, okay? So what would we say here? What do you guys think? So print when C is less than or equal to R. Well, let me just write it in that fashion then. That's exactly right. Because let's say again at row 3, column 1 we printed, row 3, column 2 we printed, row 3, column 3 we printed, which is that equal sign, and then row 3, column 4 we did not print because 4 is not less than or equal to R, right? And again, this works all the way up from row 1 to row 3, okay? But we see a problem here. We see that after row 4, it starts to kind of dwindle down into only 1 star. So we have to think, what is causing this and how can we kind of, go around it, right? So we see that again here we're printing when sorry if you guys hear my dogs barking. We see that we're printing when the column is less than or equal to the row. That still holds, but then at column 4, we're not printing even though it's less than or equal to 5, right? And similarly at column 4, we're not printing at row 6. I think someone has their mic unmuted, right? So we have to think, what can we do here, right? So let's kind of compare indices of our last parts here. So we see at row 5 in column 6, row 6 in column 2, and row 7 column 1. That's our last endpoint for those rows, right? We also see that when a row value is where we have to kind of think out of the box, right? Because initially we can't really see any comparison. But if we take row 5 and take column 3 and we add them, so 5 plus 3, that's 8. Again, here, row 6, 6 plus 2, that's 8. And 7 plus 1, that's 8, right? So we can say if the row plus the column, if that value is less than or equal to, well, we would have to find what that value is. But again, to find 8, here we have our value is n. How do we get 8 from 2? Sorry, how do we get 8 from 4? If someone could just say it in the chat. Times 2. So we're saying if r plus c is less than or equal to 2n, sorry, not 2 to the n, 2 times n, then we're also going to print, right? So we can say for what was it, part D, you could say if say if C is less than or equal to R and C plus R is less than or equal to 2 times N, then we print, right? And we can see that this holds at the top here as well, right? Because we see at row 4, column 4, that's 8. Row 3, column 3, that's 6, so that's less than 8. But at row 3, column 4, 4 is greater than 3, so we don't print, even though 4 plus 3 is less than 8, 7. And that's because of this AND operator here. So with AND operators, again, let me just touch on this really quickly, which you'll learn more about like truth tables and stuff like that later on in your coursework. So you don't really have to worry about that for now, but I'll just cover it really quickly. Let's say we make some table. Some table like this. And again, this is for just for understanding. You don't really have to know this for the quiz. On the test, would he give questions this complicated? Um, I could picture something like this appearing, but I don't think he would be that mean to give you something even more complicated than this, where you get like a W or like some repeating pattern that goes all the way to the right or whatever. I don't think he'd be that mean to give you that, hopefully. But something like this is fair game. I believe this can show up on the exam. So let's say we have this pattern, right? And let's let parts here be statements, okay? Is this going to be uploaded? The recording or the whiteboard that I'm on right now? If it's the recording, then yes. Yeah. So let's say the left side. Kind of tune in late. What are the types of problems we should be reviewing? So from the practice solution, you can just, do the questions there. Obviously, you won't be able to do all 200 and what, or 120 pages, something like that. You won't be able to do all of them. But um, if you just stick to pattern problems, fill in the blank, output, and full program questions, you should be good. My lab instructor gave me a repeated pattern with like 16 columns and it had 3 loops. Jesus. I never even got one of those questions when I was in 111, so yeah. Anyways, um, so as I was saying, let's think of this conditional statement here. Let's think of the left side as x, just some variable x. Let's think of the right side as some variable y, okay? And from that, let's plug that into this table. So x, y. And let's give these variables some values, okay? So let's go like that. And again, this is called a truth table. You don't really have to know that for this exam or for any exam in 111. This is something you will learn later on in, like, I believe, discrete mathematics. But I'm just using this to show uh, why. Oh, this is like really messed up. Hold up. I'm just trying to show why this works for this question. So let's say our left side was true and our right side was true, or our left side was true and our left side was false. Left side was false and our left side was true, or both sides were false. Okay. A question: if you wish to invert that triangle in the ear question, you would add an additional for loop that creates space prior to printing the stars, correct? Um, sorry, I don't really understand your question. You're saying like pointing left, like that? Yeah, so if you're pointing left, I believe you would just have to, let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you would just have to, well, technically you would need those spaces to print. You need spaces since, we have a space between the star that would be here and all the way here. there would have to be spaces, right? And then from there, you would have to change this part of the if statement where it's saying C is less than or equal to R. From there, I think you would have to change it to, let's see, one, two, three, four. I think you would have to change. No, that wouldn't work. I think if you want to do that, you would have to change the indexes to 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from there, I think you get to keep this if statement. Because if it's 4, 3, 2, 1, then it's going to print at 1, then it's going to print at 2, 1, then 3, 2, 1, then 4, 3, 2, 1, and so on. Can you explain the difference between or and an? Yeah, that's what we're going over right now. But yeah, for David's question, I think yeah, you would need the spaces, but then you would also just need to change the indexes, so the columns would start at n and go all the way down to 1. Right. But yeah, and operator and or operator. So this is a truth table. Again, we're saying that if the x, we're assuming that the left side is x and the right side is y, right? And we're giving true and false values to these. So let's say the x, let's say the left side is true and the right side is true. For this, he's gonna explain the difference. Yeah, basically. For this, left side and right side, if both of these are true, then and is true. Because we're saying, let's give an example. If um so let's think of it this way. If I'm trying to think of a propositional value we can give. Let's think. Oh, okay. So let's say if it is night out and it is cold, then this and statement, we wear my jacket. Okay. And let's think of this side as cold. And let's think of this side as night out. Right? So it's nighttime. So we're saying if it's cold and it's nighttime, then we wear the jacket, which is true. Then we're saying if it's cold, but this doesn't really work. Let's say it's sunny, but it's cold, but it's like mid range, so we don't really need to wear a jacket because the sun is out. So we're saying if it's cold, but it's not night, then we don't really have to wear the jacket. So that's going to be false. Wearing jacket, false. Similarly, if it's not cold, but it's night out, meaning it's, pretty warm, but it's still night out, we don't have to wear a jacket because, it's pretty warm. So we can just say false again, saying false to wearing my jacket. And then again, if it's not cold and it's not night out, then of course that means it's sunny and it's warm. Then you don't really have to wear a jacket, so we can just say false. False to wearing my jacket because I don't really have to wear a jacket. Okay, I can wear one if I want to, but I'm just gonna get warmer, so you know. But that's what it's saying with and statements, where it's saying for this propositional and statement to be true, both sides have to be true. Okay, and if either side is false, then it's false. Okay, and going back to this, we're saying if the column value is less than or equal to the R value, and C plus R is less than or equal to 2 times N, then it's true. So let's say we're at a C plus R value that's less than or equal to 2 times N, then this is going to be true. But let's say that value of the column is not less than or equal to R, this is going to be false. So that means this whole thing is going to be false, and we're not going to print star. So that's what it's saying with the and statement. Are there any questions about that? Someone unmute their mic. Any questions? No. Can we do another one of this? Yeah, we're gonna go over the yeah. Someone just DM me saying what if it was or. Oh, you're saying what if this if statement was or instead? So if this was or, then our program would not work correctly, right? because let's say we change this to or, and again, this is not the correct answer. Let's just say we're changing it to or. The or operator, again, it looks like this. Boom, boom. If it was or, then either side just has to be true to be for it to be true, for the whole thing to be true, right? And that means that we're gonna get some stars where we don't want it to be, right? Because let's say at column 4, row 3, 4 is greater than column, so that's false. So that means that this, oh, why did that happen? That means that this side here is going to return false, but 4 plus 3 is 7, which is less than or equal to 8, so that's going to return true. And since one side of our operation is true, then the whole thing is true, and from that, we're actually going to print a star here, which we don't want that to happen. And similarly, because of that, we're also going to print a star here, 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 and then we're also going to print a star here, 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 because we see that for any of the column values under and including row 4, or sorry, row 5, those are all less than or equal to uh, the row value. So it's also going to print a star there, even though C plus R is not less than equal to 2 times n. Okay. So again, or statements, just one value has to be true for the whole thing to be true. And for and statements, one of them, both of them have to be true for the whole thing to be true. And if one of them are false, if one of them is false, then the whole thing is going to be false. Okay. Did that answer your question? Yep. Okay. I know it's not related, but what is negation? So negation is basically saying what is the opposite of a certain Boolean value, right? So let's say we have this Boolean x, which contains true. Then if I say not x, that's not going to change the value inside of x, but it's just going to be the return of it. That would be false, right? So let's say if I were to say uh 3 plus 2 is less than or equal to 5. What do you guys think this will return? Do y'all know what 3 plus 2 is? 3 plus 2 is less than or equal to 5? True, right? But if we put it in parentheses and put a not right next to it, then what do we think it's going to return? False. Yeah. If I see that you keep direct messaging me, just make sure you type your answer in the public chat. This will return false because what this is doing is this part here is returning true, and it kind of to the computer it looks like this. Not t, which the not of t is the same thing as just saying false. So that's what the not operator does. That answer your question, Ivan? Yep. Okay. And then again, just make sure to type in the public chat. Okay. So that answered part D. This was the answer here. If C is less than or equal to R, or C plus R is less than or equal to 2 times N. Now there are different answers for this as well. I know the solution, I don't know if Professor Ryba gave you the solutions. I know other professors give the solutions. Um, but I know for another class, or no, sorry, another solution for this would be if C is less than or equal to R. Oh, sorry. This should be and. I was just putting that for the example. If C is less than or equal to R and C is less than or equal to 2 times N minus R. I think that was another example. Sorry, another solution, which these mean the same things. But it's kind of, up to you to what you prefer. Let me actually make that look more like a C. Yeah, it's kind of up to you what you want to do. Because again, we're checking if 2 times n, which is 8, minus r is less than or equal to 5. So we see sorry, less than or equal to C. So we see at row 5, we do 8 minus R, which is 3. That's 3 is less than or equal to 3, so that's fine. But we see that's the same exact thing because if we have C is less than or equal to 2 times M minus R, we can just add R on both sides. And that's equal to C is less than C plus R is less than or equal to 2 times M, which that's a bit, easier to understand than C is less than or equal to 2 times N minus R. But again, they both mean the same thing, right? So that is the answer for part D. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and write that down. So part D gives you the statement. So then, since it gives you the statement, you're not going to rewrite if. You can just say if. You can just say C is less than or equal to R, and C plus R is less than or equal to, just scoot over, 2 times N. Okay, and that'd be one of the answers for part D. You can have another answer and have it still work, which again, if you found another answer for that question, you can just send in the chat and we can explain why it's correct. But yeah. And then part E, what do you guys think is going to be for part E? Because we see that we're at the end of a column, we don't want it to print to the next line. Yeah, so C out and del for part E. C out, del. And because what it's doing is that once we get to the end of our columns, we want to go to the next line. So we simply just C out and del. Goes to the next line, we print, next line, print, next line, print, and then finally next line, and then print. Oh, and then there's a bunch more lines here, but yeah. So C out and del. Okay. And that would be the answer for this question. This would be worth about 10 points out of 40 points. So it's a pretty good start. Um, so is there any questions about this question in particular? Or about just the pattern in general? Nope. Okay. So that's just one of the pattern questions. This is a good one to study because, this is a pretty good example just because of the fact that it gives you experience in comparing the index values, not only from, just less than or equal, stuff like that, but also gives you, experience with actually doing arithmetic with the indexes, which I would say that's why this is a good question to practice with. Okay. All right, and then I again just want to give it another reminder before we move on to the next question. That if you have not yet filled out the attendance, send it again real quick. Please make sure to do that. Okay. Ivan, you said how many questions will be on the exam on the midterm? Just 4. So it's a 40-point exam, 10 points each. So if you can just secure 2 problems, that's a 50% of your exam. And yeah, you don't have to place an increment or decrement after the condition. Can you please explain why? Don't have to place an increment or decrement after the condition. You're saying here, right? No, I'm not saying 50% is a pass. I'm just saying 20%. If you get 2 questions correct, that's an instant 50. I don't know if Professor Ryba has a curve though. So yeah. So you're not doing any incrementations or decrementations here because once this line of code runs and we hit this, I like to call it a mustache bracket, if that's easier to understand. Once we hit this mustache bracket, we go back up to here, and in part C, that's where the incrementation is done, right? Because we see we had here C++, right? So again, as soon as we hit that mustache bracket, you go back up to C++, and then we increment. Yeah, no problem. Will there be step marking? What do you mean by step marking? I don't really understand the question. If you can elaborate. Could you go over number 9 from the review? Let's take a look at number 9. Oh, okay, let's see. So this is a full program question. Yeah, so we'll do this one. If we attempt half question, if we attempt half of the question, will we get credit for that? Yeah, I think. Oh, stomach. Yeah, yeah. So most teachers get partial credit. So if if you put something, you at least get some points for it, I believe. But it just has to make sense. What you're trying to put. If you just put like C out and then if you just C out and then just put like the entire star, the entire pattern, I feel like you probably wouldn't get points for that. You probably wouldn't get points for that. Sorry. Uh, yeah. So you said question number 9, and then someone said, "This is what I have. C is less than or equal to n. C is less than or equal to n, and R plus C is less than." At the bottom half. Yeah, because what you put is C is less than or equal to n, which if we check here, C is less than or equal to n is 4. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we won't be able to print any of these values here. We won't be able to print at column 1, 2, 3. We'd only be able to print at column 4. And for that, there's also that other if statement, R plus C is less than or equal to 2 times n. That would only print this star here for the for that part, because we see C is less than or equal to n, which is 4, and then C plus R is less than or equal to 2 times n. But it wouldn't be able to print these parts here. So that's why you would just have to readjust it to C is less than or equal to R, because we see it prints when R is 2, we print up to 2, and then we don't print at 3 and 4. If you ever have to write a full program for patterns and identifying the if statement is hard, remember you can still get 8 out of 10 marks if you do everything else right. Yeah, pretty much. Um, can you go over problem 28? Yeah, so we're gonna do problem 9 first because someone asked for that one. And then I guess we can take a look at problem 28. Which one's problem 28? Let me see. Problem 28. Oh, that is that's like a few boxes. Okay, so we'll take a look at that one afterwards. I personally haven't answered that one, but we'll take a look at it together. Sorry. Okay. What's the 4D? Sorry, I don't understand your question. What's for dinner? Sorry, I don't understand your question. What's for D? You're saying what's the answer for part D? Yeah, the answer for part D, we said it's C is less than or equal to R, and C plus R is less than or equal to 2 times N. And again, since part D is inside of an if statement, we don't have to rewrite if C is less than or equal to R and C plus R is less than or equal to 2 times N. Say C plus R is C is less than or equal to R and R is less than or equal to 2. And let's say he did this where he said if and then it was just part D. The answer would be have to put a oh we'd have to put a parentheses there and then say another parentheses C out star, and that would be a part of that. Anyways, let's go ahead and do question 9. But are there any final questions about this one? Okay. So what I'm gonna do, since this is a full programming question, I don't want to have to write everything down. But again, for your exam, you have to write stuff down. And again, I also recommend, I don't think I said this before, but I recommend doing your exam pencil, please. I was TAing for Professor Chin's exam, and the amount of people I saw writing their exam, crazy. They had many mistakes and they had to scribble it out, and their code was just unreadable. So please take your exam with a pencil. Do yourself a favor. Please, 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 please. Okay. All right. And again, that's just kind of what you need for these full programming questions, because whenever you make a mistake on a computer, you can go ahead and like delete your line and then keep going. With a pen, you can't do that. So please. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and I'm gonna open up IDE. All right. So can you guys share my screen? Can I just get a thumbs up reaction if anything? Yeah, this is just so I don't think you guys have learned about IDEs. Um, but can you make a volume a tad bit louder? Uh, let me see audio settings. Okay, is that better? Can y'all hear me good? Okay. Yep, yep, okay. So yeah, what we're using here, I know you guys usually use something called Smarty or Smart Terminal. What we're going to be using right now, just to make things a bit faster, is something called an IDE, okay, or development environment. So what that does is I'm using an IDE called Dev C++, which is an IDE that just allows me to, you know, it just kind of does everything for me, right? Where I don't have to go mkdir, make all my directories. Yeah, automatically shows it. I don't have to go and do G++, type the name out, and do .a, all that stuff. I don't have to do it. The code compiler does it for me. Okay. So as you can see, we easily just went and did file and new, and then it started a new code file for us. So it does make things a lot easier, which again, when you move on to your 211 and 212 classes, I recommend switching over to 90E instead of Smarty, because that'll just make your life a whole lot easier, because you're gonna be making bigger projects and you don't want to do that all in Smarty. Uh, so yeah, right. So we are doing problem 9. Let me just drag it over and let's just take some time to read it. So it says, right, it can, you guys can still see my screen, right? I don't know if, because I don't have the green border, so I'm not sure what I'm sharing. Okay, you guys can see the question, right? So it says, write a complete C++ program that asks the user to enter, that asks the user to type an integer n. It should then ask the user to enter n more numbers and print the average of these numbers. Okay. Partial credit will be given for programs that perform some of the required steps, but excessively long or complicated programs will lose credit. So let's say you do a program that takes 2 papers. Let's say you do this question and you write a program that takes 2 sheets of paper to write out. You're going to lose some points. So please keep your programs short and simple. Okay. So we see in the example output, it says enter an integer. They put in the number 4, and now it says now enter 4 more numbers. So we ask the user enter 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we calculate the average of that. Okay. Additionally, with the other sample output program, we say enter an integer 1, so we ask them to enter 1 more number. They enter an 8, and the average of that, of course, is 8. Okay. So, what do you guys think we have to do first? What should be our first step? Initialize a variable. Well, there's still one more thing that you have to do that you have to do with every C++ program. If you forget this, then your answer will be wrong. Okay. So what do we have to do first when we have our code just like this? Include IOStream, right? Let me move my writing tablet out the way. So include IOStream. And then using namespace std int main. This will be in every single C++ program you write in this class or on this test. So please, for a question that says write a full C++ program, do not forget include IOStream using namespace std int main. Okay. If you want an explanation about why you do those things, why you include IOStream and why you say using namespace std, I can explain that a little bit later on. But right now, let's just focus on this problem. Right. And again, we're not going to write return 0 in the last squiggly bracket right now, because again, we're going to write this as if we're writing on paper, line by line. So if you do return 0 right after that, obviously you can't put anything right in between. So let's say this is our paper, and this is what we have right now. You put next to, yeah, you put mustache bracket next to the parentheses for the main. Yep, it's right here. Okay. So this is the beginning of our main program. Do not forget your brackets as well, and also do not forget to indent. Obviously, we're not going to write int main and then write directly under that like that. We want to remember to indent after making our int main just like that. Okay, so we're going to start right here. Anytime you have a mustache bracket that is opening, you're going to indent until you have a closing mustache bracket. Then that's when you're going to unindent. Okay. So first thing we have to do is take in a number from the user. That's going to be the amount of numbers that we want to print. Sorry, that we want to ask for the user. So let's call it int count, right? And let's ask the user to enter a number. So let's take a look. Again, you're going to be given these example outputs, so just put exactly what it says. So it says enter an integer and enter an integer. So let's just go ahead and take that like that. And don't forget to put your space as well, because if we don't include the space, then the number is going to be directly next to it. Now, we're not going to say sin4. Okay. Of course, here that's what the user enters. They enter in 4. But we're going to say sin count because we want count to store that number. We can just say sin4. Okay. So count is now going to store the number entered by the user. And from that, we want the user to enter count numbers, right? Or let me just say n numbers. Okay, so let's say the user enters in the number 4 for count. Then we want them to enter in 4 numbers. Okay. So with this, we can use some while loop, but remember that we are calculating the average. There are two things we need with the average. We need the count of the numbers, which is right there, and we need the sum. Okay. And to calculate average, that's just the sum divided by the count. Again, it looks like this. The sum divided by the count. And that's what average is equal to. Okay, please don't forget that on an exam. If you get an average question, you have to know this. So please don't please don't forget that. Okay. So from this, we have our count variable. We also need a sum variable. So let's go ahead and say int sum is equal to 0 for now. And we're going to add each number entered by the user into this sum variable. Okay. So we can say while, and we want this to run count times. Okay. So we can say int int I. Actually, no. Let's just do a for loop instead. So let's say int I is equal to 1, I less than equal to count, and I plus plus. So now we just made a for loop that runs count times. What happens if put other number besides 0? Sorry, I don't know what you mean. Like less than 0? I mean, it just says write a complete C++ program that asks the user to type an integer n. It should then ask the user to enter n more numbers and print the average of these numbers. So it doesn't ask you to do any error checking. So let's say it enters in -1, then it's just gonna return like I think like 0 or something. Like equal to one for the sum. You're saying like they enter in like additional numbers, but they enter in like numbers less than one, then that will still work because you're just calculating the average of those numbers. If you're taking the adding them, dividing it by the amount of numbers you have, and then going from there. Which I forgot to semicolon. Yep. Yeah, I just meant to do that. Okay, and it wasn't line 13, it was line 11. Right. So in there, that's when we want to ask the user to enter in another number. So we could just say int new number, oop, like so. And let's see what the output is. It says now enter 4 more numbers or n more numbers, or just count more numbers. Actually, just make it more easier because I keep saying n. Let me just change it to n instead. So we have this new number and we say cout enter. We have to put n more numbers. Like so. And then what do you guys think we're going to put after that? You have to change for loop as well. Int, oh yeah, sorry. So what do you guys think we're going to put after that cout? We are taking in a new number. Yes, so sin. And what is going to be after sin? Sin new number, right? So, or actually, let me think about what it's doing. It says now enter 4 more numbers. It's entering it all on one line. So the approach we were taking is that we just have them enter it in one at a time. So let's actually do this. Put this on the outside, and then we can just enter it in that way. Okay. So we have cout enter n more numbers. We create that number, and we tell them to enter in that number. Okay. And then from there, we want to output the average. So we say cout their average is blank. Doesn't it just ask for the amount of nums based on the int you gave it? Sorry, I don't know what you mean. Yeah, it's yeah, that's what's saying that based on this integer here, we're telling them to enter in that many more integers. That's what it's saying. Okay, so it says cout their average is, but first we have to calculate the average. We know that averages can be decimals. Let's say an average of a few numbers, 5, 6, 7, 8 is 6.5, right? And what is the data type we use to store? Yep, double. Double, let's just call it average, is equal to. Now, what do we think average is going to store? What's the formula to calculate average? Oh, sorry, I completely forgot. It should be sum plus equals new number, right? Because we're taking our new number and adding it to the sum 4 times, and then we're calculating the average. Sum divided by count. Sorry, yeah, sum divided by n. Okay. But there's one error here. We see that here, sum is an integer, and n is an integer. And because of this, sum divided by n, that's integer division. So double will actually store an integer. So let's say it said, let's say sum was 5 and the n was 2. then average was supposed to be which it should store 2.5, but instead it stores 2 because it's integer division. Can you add double to the formula? Yeah. So then you could simply just say double. Actually, I think it would have to be. Actually, yeah, I think that works. Double. Where then it takes this and turns it into double division, and that will store 2.5. Change them to double or float. Yeah, so we change this to double. And from there, we could say their average is average Mendel, and then we could just return 0. Okay. I've seen static cast with double. Do we need static cast? No, no, you don't need that. I don't really even know what static cast is. I haven't used that before in 111 or 211. All we really need to do is just take this number and cast double to it. Okay. Now, let's see what this does. We might have an error, but let's see, because I'm not too sure about that for loop. Let's see, average nums. Let's check it out. So it's going to compile it for us, and then we get this ID, this terminal, or sorry, console. And we say enter an integer. So let's put 4. And it says enter 4 more numbers. So let's put 5, 6, 7, and 8. And it says their average is 6.5. And that is exactly what we have here. The average is 6.5. Okay. But if you notice that Venus here is on the next line, right? Additionally, it's also on the next line here. That's because, let's say if we were to remove this end line, let's put 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. Now, because we're on an IDE, it does it for us. But I know some of you guys do Smart Terminal that you guys might have like the return statement on the same last line of your output, so it looks really weird. That's because we have endo here. So if he's looking for exact output, then when this is outputted, you would also include an endo. Okay. Additionally, let's check our other outputs. So this is integer, enter an integer 1. So let's see what we get. 1 and 8. We just get 8. But let's see what happens if we do it on the same line. So 5, 6, 7, 8. This might not work, but let's see. It still works. Their average is 6.5. Okay. Right. Are there any questions about this? I know someone, I don't know who it was that asked me to do this question. Let me just double check. Uh, Anupama, do you have any questions about that? I think it was you that asked me. The average of 1. No, it's not. Sorry, no, it's not the average of 1 and 8. It's saying we're entering in one number. Enter one more number. That's just 8. The average of just the one number 8 is just 8. 8 divided by 1. You get it now? All right. Yeah, it's if we did, let's say this 2, and then we put 1 and 8, then we get a different number. That's 4.5. Yeah. The one was just saying how many numbers are we entering. Yeah, good question though. I understand where that confusion could come from. All right. Are there any other questions about this one? None? Okay. So I'm gonna save this. And I can send you guys this code, but I don't think I could send it on Zoom. So what we're gonna do, just so you guys can receive the code, I'm gonna give you guys this Discord link. Copy. Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys this link. This goes to a server called Code for All, which right now is the biggest coding club on campus. I'm the founder and president of it. And I'm gonna go ahead and post the code in this 111 chat right here. You just go to 111 and the code will be right here. Okay. But to gain access to the server, once you just accept it, you can just go to the rules chat right here and then click the emoji and you'll gain access. Okay. So this is the link here. And I'm going to go ahead and post the code. So 111, upload a file. It should be in here. Let's see. Average nums. There you go. Yes, this server is really wholesome. Okay. So that is there. And then again, I see a bunch of you guys started joining. Once you join, so you guys' name is white still because you have to go set the rules. So just go to the rules chat, click this emoji, and then you'll be given access. It, once you'll get right now, as soon as you join, it will just be blank. So again, go to the rules chat, then click that emoji, and then you'll gain access. Not this one. I don't really know why that one's there. Click the sunglasses emoji, and then you'll gain access. Okay. And then again, to find it, it's right here in the 111 chat. Okay. All right. Are there any questions about how to join, anything like that? If not, then you are good. Welcome. Okay, so it looks like some people are trickling in. All right. Again, I see you guys' name is still white. Remember, just go to the rules chat and then click the sunglasses emoji. Right. So, yeah, we do ping a lot on Fridays. That's for the Go Fridays. I gotta tell my board members to stop doing that, but yeah. All right. So, uh, what is the next question you guys wanted to go over? We did question 9. The answer for that is in the chat. You guys want to go over another full programming question, an output question? What are you guys feeling? Or do you guys want to go over a certain topic? It's all up to you guys. Where is this? The Discord chat that I sent right above Ivan's message, if you just join that, all the problems, it is right here. If you go to Professor Ryba's website, where is it? Where's his website? Hold on. That's Steinberg. Okay, yeah, right here. So if you go to Professor Ryba's website, you guys should be familiar with this right here. If you go to this website and then just hit practice problems for midterm 1, you will be given about 120 pages worth of questions for you to practice. Again, you do not have to practice every single one of these questions, but these are a good resource. Okay. Please go over question 28. Okay. Someone said output questions, problem 11. Which one's problem 11? That's another output question. I got a question. It's about logic. What tips can you give me for resolving code by my own? What I'm saying is when I'm trying to do a lab question, my mind just gets blank. When I need to do my problems by my own, how can I prove that? How can you improve that? Um, I would say first, kind of try to understand what it's asking. And to do that, you can look at example outputs and then kind of try to draw out your own example outputs. Let's say we're given a set of rules for a code. Take your notebook, set it down, and think, what would the output be if I enter in the number n? Sorry, enter in the number 7. If that happens, write out the output to yourself and also try to think of several test cases where, a different output, certain output wouldn't work. Okay. And from that, you can kind of see how things are outputted sequentially, how it's supposed to be outputted. And that'll also really help you on your exam, where if you just kind of think, what do I have to do before actually doing anything. Don't just like encounter a writing problem or write a full programming question and just instantly start writing code. Think to yourself, what do I have to do to answer this problem? Write down different outputs and then answer the problem. Don't just jump directly to answering the problem, right? Yeah, no problem. And again, remember, I see a bunch of you guys joining from here from the Discord. Just to remind you that to gain access, you have to, because I see if you guys have a white name, that means you don't have access. Yeah, I just saw Kayla has a red name. For the people who have a white name here, Javier, Mariana, Mav, Hollier, Tashi, Meet, Hamza, to gain access, you have to go to the rules chat and then just click that emoji right there, and then you'll be able to see the code that I inputted at CS111 chat. Okay. Where's the link to the Discord? It is right here. Okay. Um, Chris, if you can just like as you're also sending out the attendance, if you can just put another part to it and include that Discord link so people can access the code,
All
that
right,
would
is
be
this
great.
the Discord for you guys for the study group, right?
Yeah, this is for Code for All, which is that's where I also host different study sessions. Usually I don't use Zoom, but Alan told me that I should do it over Zoom just this once because it was kind of hard to explain over text how they have to go to the rules chat and click there. But now that I'm showing you guys, you'd be able to do it here. And then future study sessions I'll be hosting on this Discord because it just makes things easier. And then we also host free tutoring in there as well, so just makes things a bit easier.
All right. So I copy that code. So all right. So one more thing before everybody leaves or forgets, I have two forms that you guys need to fill out. If you haven't filled out the attendance form, please fill that out as soon as you can because the thing is that we need this attendance to see who is actually using the programs because if we don't have people signing in or recording, it might not look good when we're trying to ask money for to continue these types of programs. All right. So when you can, please do that. And also please fill out the feedback form because again, it helps us figure out like how to make these sessions better and how we're able to reach other people. So this way we can get as many people as possible to join the study session groups. All right.
Yep.
So thank you guys and thank you, Justin. So
Yep.
back to you.
Yep. Thank you, Chris. And again, I just saw Jenny just introduce herself. So thank you for that. Jenny is Hollier. But just to touch on one more thing about the Discord before we move on to another topic, it concerns tutoring. That again, this Discord gives free after hours tutoring. So if you see this tutoring chat here, it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to request tutoring. And to do that, you can just go to any chat, let's say the general discussion, click here, type a slash, and then type create underscore tutoring underscore channel. Once that happens, hit enter. Just choose your course. You guys are 111, so you would hit 111, click it, and then you are going to put your reason for your tutoring. So I'm going to put testing this out. Okay. You're going to hit submit, and then you'll get a private tutoring channel with our board members. You can see here on the right side, that's me, my vice president, and some other people that'll be who are able to that'll help be able to help you out. Okay. Okay. But yeah, and let's just close that up. All right. So that is just the gist of what this Discord server is. And let's continue. Okay. So we said question 28, correct? So let's go ahead and bring that up. Question number 28. Okay. So this says, write a complete C++ program that asks the user for a number n and then prints a large grid of small squares. Each small square has a size n minus 1 times n minus 1, so basically n minus 1 squared, and contains star symbols. The large grid should have n rows, each of which contains n small squares, with a blank column separating these squares. The rows of small squares in the large grid should be separated by blank rows. For example, if the user specified 3 for n, the program would print as follows. So we have 3 rows and 3 columns, and from there we have um, these little small grids where it's n minus 1. So that's just like that, okay? So let's say the answer 3, it'd be 2 times 2. So that'd be a 2 by 2 grid, okay? So let's kind of draw this out here. Let me bring up again question 28. And this is a pretty tough question. I wouldn't think that he would give you something like this, or at least I hope. Because this is a pretty tough question, but let's see what we can do. And let me close this out as well. Okay. All right, so I'm about to close the chat because I have to go to my Microsoft board. So if you say something and I don't see it, just unmute yourself and just let me know that you said something in chat. So we have boom, boom. Actually, let me just, I don't want to redraw all those grids. Let me just grab a picture of it. All right. So we have this grid. And again, once we encounter a grid question, we can just go ahead and draw out our separations. Which that's going to be pretty hard here. Let me see if I can make this smaller. Okay. So we got this. Boom. Damn, that is really not straight. Okay. Boom. This is 1, I believe. Like that. This question is kind of hard to see where the grid point should be. I believe it's 1, 2, 3. Let me just double check. Question. The row, for example, the rows of small squares in the large grid should be separated by blank rows. So it doesn't say how many rows, which kind of makes this question a bit weird. Let me think. N by n. So let's say we need 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, I did not count that correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, well, I guess that works. So then from there, let's kind of draw it out this way. And then again, like this. All right, and let's just put an extra one here just to make it a bit clear. And then I believe within that here, I believe that's just an endl, so that should be fine. And then from there, we want to put our columns. So my dogs are barking again, so I apologize about that. Okay. All right. So this is a very scuffed grid, but let's kind of interpret how we can do this. So we have 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold on, are we missing one? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that looks good. So less, yeah, it'd be less than. And then here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, we have extra. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Believe that's good. Okay. This is a full program question, right? Okay. This is where it gets a bit weird. The spaces are not visible. Do we have time to do this during exam? Yeah, so this is a full rank programming question, so I would say you would have time. Um, you have 50 minutes for 4 questions, and I would say the full programming question would take you the most time. So most of your time will be dedicated to a question like this. So I believe you would still have time. Just give me 1 second. Someone's emailing me. Okay. So let me just bring up my IDE and I'm gonna clear this. So again, this is a full programming question and a pattern question at the same time. So let's see what we can do. Of course, we want to ask the user to enter a number. So we could say int n, and we could say cout, enter a number n. Okay. And then again, what's gonna be after that? Sin. What's gonna be after sin? N. Okay. And then from there, we want a for loop that, let's bring this up again, kind of is n times n. Okay. Because let's say n is equal to 3, then we want it to be 9 by 9. Okay. So let's see what we got here, C++. Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this question to the best of my ability, but the diagram they give is a bit misleading. So let's see what I can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's a bit weird, but let's see. So again, we have n by n rows and n by n columns. So at this point, we could say for int I, we're starting it at 1. Sorry, let's put r. We're starting it at 1. And r, what do we think that's going to be after the r? If we're having n by n rows, what do we think is going to be for the r? Wouldn't it be n? Because we're having n times n. Remember the question prompt? It said n times n. So from that, yeah, we can't simply write n squared. Remember that? It would be instead n times n, then r plus plus. Yeah, there you go. And then again for the columns, we have n times n. Int c is equal to 1. C is less than n times n. Oops, sorry. And c plus plus. Okay. And then from here, this is where it gets a bit tricky. Okay. So let's see what we can do. I think we might have overcounted here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we did. So yeah, here's the actual. This diagram is just really weirdly drawn, but I think it's because we're so zoomed in. Oh, what just happened? So it should be more like this. Try to ignore those lines. Let's just kind of put the indexes like this. It's because we were just so zoomed in. So this is supposed to be 1, 2. This whole thing is n line 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this isn't supposed to be here. You can kind of just think of it like, see, I can't really erase each part now. Damn, that's really weird. But it's just because of the fact that we kind of made this a lot bigger. But just know we're going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So, wait, there we go. From this, we have these for loops, and we have to think of some way that we can compare. So we see at index, oh god, it's doing it again. At index 1 and 2, for the column we're printing at, sorry, at row 1, we're printing at column 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. And then row 2, we're printing at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. So it seems like we're printing at every column value that is 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. But what mainly determines what we're printing at would be the row values. We're printing at 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7 and 8. Okay, why does it keep doing that? So let's think what we can do. Does anyone have any ideas? What do you guys think? 'Cause I don't want to just give away the answer. What comparison do you guys think we should make here? And if this question scares you, don't worry. I don't believe you would give a question like this. So we're just kind of walking through this because someone requested to do this question. But don't be frightened by this. Okay. So what do you guys think we should do? Can you go back for a minute? Um, like go back conceptually, like start from the beginning, or like go back from the picture. Oh, the code. Okay. So this is where we are, what we're at right now. Good. Okay. Right. So what do you guys think we should do? Can we put blank spaces for whenever R or C is divisible by 3? Let's see. If R or C is divisible by 3, I think that would, I don't think that would be for, actually, oh, actually, that, 3 and 6, then it'd be 9. Okay. So that would work for this diagram here, but remember we're evolving ourselves with n. So I don't believe it'd be ROC is divisible by 3. I believe it would be ROC is divisible by n minus 1. Because remember n is 4. So here would be n minus 1. But I'm not sure if that would work because 1, 2, 3, blank space would be here for 4. I think. Uh, sorry, this is actually no, n is equal to 3 here, sorry. N is equal to 3, and this is n minus 1 by n minus 1. The diagram doesn't even do constant. Yeah, this question is very weird. So we're saying if ROC is divisible by n, then we print. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. So I believe that that part would work. Okay. But we need to find something that works for everything here. Right? So what can we do? Let's say we did take that approach. Let's see what would happen. So we said if C or R is divisible, oh, sorry, C divided by mod R, oh, sorry, mod N, my fault, is equal to 0, or R mod C, sorry, mod N is equal to 0, then we print a space. And let's say instead of that, then we said else C out a star. Let's see what that would do. But first, again, we have to do C out and L, and then return 0. So let's see what this would do. Right, since n can technically be yeah, so it could be any number of inputs. So we want to make sure that it works for any other inputs, and any number of inputs we don't want it to only work for 3. Let's see what this does. Let's say you put in 3. Wow, that actually worked. I didn't think that would work. Let's see again. Hold on. Let's put 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that actually worked. That was not a solution I was thinking of, but that actually worked. Let's see number 4. Wow, that actually worked. Who was it that said that? A J. A J. That was actually really good, right? Where we're saying when C is divisible by n or R is divisible by n, then we see out a space. Else, if it isn't, then we just see out a star. Okay? Because we see at any point, let's say when R is equal to C, sorry, R is equal to 3, which is divisible by n, we don't have to worry about any of the column values because we're just printing out a space. And then when row is 2, that's not divisible by 3. So we just want to print a space anytime we're at a column value that is divisible by 3 or n, you could say. But that actually works really perfectly. Now, the solution that was given by the professors, this was actually the solution. But again, that works really well. So congrats to you, AJ. Um, this is what is given instead. So it says R mod n is not equal to 0, or, oh, sorry, and C mod n is not equal to 0. Then we see out a star, else see out a space. So this is the exact opposite of what AJ was thinking of, but both still work, right? You can think of this as the negation. There's a rule called De Morgan's law, which that's kind of what was applied here. But again, you guys don't have to worry about that until like 2 semesters, so y'all don't have to worry about that now. But that's just kind of what's being applied here, where it's the exact negation of what AJ came up with, right? Where if we run that, let's say 3, it still does the exact same thing. So this is the same exact thing as saying that, right? Where we negated the and to an or, we negated this to be equal to, this to be equal to, and we see out of the space, else we see out of the star. And that worked perfectly. So congrats to you, AJ. Do we have any questions about that? Man, I'm about to say. Honestly, I don't even know if you would get points for that. You'll probably get like a point. I don't know. Um, but yeah. They have different outputs, or am I just wrong? Let's see. Let's put 3. This is 2, 2, 2, and then let's try the other one. This was not, not, and then a star, and this was a space. So let's put 3 again. Whoa, wait. Oh, sorry, this is supposed to be an and. Nope, they have the same output. Why not a less than or equal to in the condition of the for loop? Right here. So we don't put a less than or equal to because we see that here, we're not going up to 9, we're just going up to 8. Right? Because for that question, this is 3 times 3, which is 9. And we're going up to row is less than 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9. Yeah. Yep. Right, so I'm gonna actually send both versions of the code that we just did, the one that AJ just came up with, and the one given to us by professors, or the solution given to us by QC. So I'm gonna just call this, I'll call this AJ. Okay. And then again, if you go to the Discord here, some of you guys still have white names, right? Mav, Tashi, Mel's, Kevin. Make sure you go to the rules chat and click the emoji there, and then you'll be given access to be able to see the code we send. So here, 111, I'm gonna go ahead and upload the file we just did. So we have AJ. Did he ever go over and negate chat? I don't, I wouldn't know. But he probably did, probably touched on it a bit. But yeah, this is the one by the professors, and then let's go grab the one AJ did with the ores. Okay, save that, and then I'm gonna send that one as well. Okay. All right. So, are there any questions about what we just did for this question? Any questions at all? And again, remember, Chris, would you be able to send the Discord link again? Remember, if you want to get those solutions, join the Discord, and then remember, just go to the rules chat and hit the emoji, and you'll be able to see everything. And again, if you did not sign the attendance, please make sure to do so. Okay. Then just go to 111, and all the code is right here. Okay. When you get an output question where a line doesn't have an output, for example, when an if statement is false, do you just leave the answer blank, or do you have to write there is no output? I believe when I TA'd for Chin's exam, I know there was one question that was pulled from the problems that he gave. Um, I believe it said to leave it blank. I don't remember. It will be specified in your question. If it's not specified in your question, then you just ask your proctors the day of the exam what you should put. But most of the time, it will be put in the question, saying just leave a blank or put like NA, whatever. Okay, no problem. All right, again, any other questions about what we just did? If no, can I just get a thumbs up emoji by everyone? Where do we find the emoji to join the club? Yeah, so to join the club, once you join the Discord, you're gonna go to the rules chat right here. I believe you should only be able to see welcome, announcements, rules, and tutoring. You're just gonna hit the rules chat right here, and then you're just gonna click the emoji right here. And then there's another Discord link here that you can use to share it to your friends or whatever. But you're gonna click the emoji right there. I see someone just clicked it, and then you'll be given access to everything here. Okay? You'll be given access to CS courses here, math courses as well, and you can ask any questions you have. So remember Andrea, Torn Sweater, Homie, Ridwan. Make sure to go and hit that emoji. Mariana, Mav, Tashi, Mills, Kevin. Okay. All right. So, yep. See, Peter just joined. Nice to meet you, Peter. All right. So let's go ahead and bring up this code. And I don't think there's any more questions about that. If you want to look at the answer again, remember it's just in that chat. Okay. All right. How much time do we have left? We have about 15 minutes left. We went over about 3 pattern questions. Actually, no, was it 2? I don't remember. And I remember there was one more question someone asked if we can do. What does, I don't know if someone's able to resend that question or if there's another question you guys want to do. I'll go over the next question that's answered into the chat. So if someone could just send me some question they want to do. How would an output question? Okay, let's check it out. Output. Let's see. Let me find one here. Ah, here's one. Oh, I think this is the one that someone asked to do. Problem 11. Yeah, Kevin just said problem 11. So let's do problem 11. All right. Let me just take a picture of this. And again, if you don't have access to the problems that we're doing, this is the problems. This was given by Professor Ryba, and that's what we're using, okay? And we're doing problem 11. If you got time, can we do random number questions? Yeah, I think we could do. I could think we could go random really quickly. I don't think random will probably not be in your exam, but we'll see. Damn, it's been a long time since I've done random, so I'll probably need a quick refresher before we go over that, but we'll see. Okay, so this is problem 11. Functions not on test. Rand is complicated. Okay, so we'll do this question, then we'll cover Rand really quickly, and by then it should be 5:30, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, and then I'll upload the recording to the. I'll upload it to this YouTube channel. Here, I can send a link. Just give me 1 second. I will upload it here. Okay, I just sent the link in the chat. I will upload it there. That is where we upload all of our review sessions. Okay. All right. So, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Whiteboard. Okay. Let's bring up the practice problem. All right. So, problem 11. Oh, this is lagging. Let me make this a bit smaller. All right, so problem 11 is saying what is the output in line A, line B, line C, line D, and line E. So let's take a look. Of course, we have this whole C++ program. It has include IO stream using namespace std, and then we start in main. And we say x is equal to 2, y is equal to 5, and z is equal to 65. Right? When I took this class and I did these output questions, the first thing I did was list the current values of our variables, right? Because there could be at some point in time where that changes in our program, and we want to make sure to note that change. So let's say there's a part in our program that changes the value to 4 of x, and we say x is equal to 4 now. We don't want to accidentally put 2 again, right? So that's why it's good to have, just put in the corner of your paper, just put the current values. So x is equal to 2, y is equal to 5, and z is equal to 65. That will make it much easier for you to answer these questions. Okay, all right. So from here, we say string QC is equal to Queens College and string CS is equal to CS111. Okay. And at line A, we have a for loop. Don't get confused by it having no squiggly brackets. If there's no squiggly brackets and it's on the same line, that just means that there's a for loop that's running this line of code right here, this line of code, however many times. Okay. So we have a for loop starting at the value x, which is 2, and ending at the value y, not including y, which is 5. So that means it's going to run 2, 3, 4. So that's 3 times. Okay. Yeah, that only works if there's one line. And Kevin already sent its answer, right? Or we're outing CS 3 times. If there was an equal sign, then we'll go to 5 and that'd be 4 times. But there's no equal signs, so it only runs 3 times. Please don't get tricked out by that. They could try to throw a curveball at you and not include the equal sign, and you'd have to identify that there's no equal sign there, and it'd only be 3 instead of 4. So we're outing 3. We're outing CS, which is CS111, 3 times. So the answer is going to be CS111, CS111, CS111. Okay. Are there any questions about that? No questions. Yep, what's your question, Vallejo? Why 3 times? Yeah, so what we're doing here, we know that x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 5. And we're saying int c is equal to 2, so we're starting c at 2. The incrementation is only plus 1, and we're saying while c is less than 5. Okay. So on the first iteration, c is equal to 2. We go in and we say 2 is less than 5, so that's correct. And we go in and we see out CS. That's CS111. Then we do C++, and now C is equal to 3. Then we check, is 3 less than 5? It is, so we run this line of code again, and it says C out CS. So we do CS111. We go again, do C++, so C is now equal to 4. And we say 4 less than 5, it is, so we go and run the code again, and we do CS111. Then we increment C again, so now it becomes 5, and we say, is 5 less than 5? 5 is not less than 5, so we break out of the for loop to the next line. Oh, okay, I got it. We can start from 2. That's, yeah, if we were to start at 1, then it'd be 4 times. But since we're starting at 2, then that's why it's 5, right? And then let's just put here. Yes, C changes values 4 times, but we only print out 3 times. You ignore the bottom code? Which bottom code? Oh, with the for loop, yeah, because there's no squiggly bracket. Let's say if there was a squiggly bracket right here to right here, then this whole code here would be in the for loop, including this part here. But since there's no squiggly brackets, it's just gonna run, the for loop is just gonna not ignore the next line of code, which is this right here. Yeah. End line comes to play when CS111 prints out 3 times. Uh, yes, that's why. Because, right, you see here, technically there are 2 lines of code here. We have C out CS and then C out end out. The for loop is only going to be looking at this line and not including that C out and down. And that's why, don't get tricked by this, the answer will not be, so the answer will not be CS111, 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 right? Because this line of code here is the same as saying, let me just write it here, is the same as saying for int c is equal to x, c is less than y, c plus plus, squiggly bracket, c out, cs, c out, endo. These both do the same exact thing, right? Where when there's no squiggly brackets, it's only going to run the next line of code, right? So let's say if it was like this, it's still only going to run C out CS that many times. Even if there was no indentation like that, it's only going to run C out CS that many times. And then it will do C out and out after the for loop is over. Let's say it was C out CS and out as one line. What would be the output? The output would be CS111, CS111, CS111. Because you print CS, go to the next line, print CS, go to the next line, print CS, go to the next line. Okay. I don't want to accidentally go over time, so let's go to the next question. It says, what does the output of line be? Right? So it says C out mod Z mod Y divided by Y mod X. So what's Z mod Y? Z is 65. Z is 65 and Y is 5. So is 65 divisible by 5? It is. So yep, if we put it in the chat, it's 0. From that, we don't even really have to worry about what's on here, right? Because it's saying 0 divided by something. And what's 0 divided by any number? Can someone put it in the chat? 0, anything, 0. There you go. That's why the answer here is just going to be 0. Now, if you wanted to go through the extra steps and check it, you can say y mod x. That's 5 mod 2, which that's just going to be 5. Sorry, no, that's just going to be 1. Okay. That's just going to be 0 divided by 1, which is 0. So line B is 0. Okay. Line C says if x is greater than y and y is greater than z, C out QC and L. Okay. So x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 5. So that's false. And y is greater than z. Let's see. That's also false. So we're not going to be able to see out anything. So the answer for this, you can either just leave it blank or just put no output. I'm going to put no output. But on your exam, you should ask your instructor where you should put, because they might consider no output as the actual output, which you don't want them to think that. So, yeah. And number D, sorry, line D, it says C out CS. So we immediately just going to put CS111. CS111. Okay. Then it says a divided by sign and then y minus x. So what's y minus x? 5 minus 2, that's 3. So that's going to be divide sign, 3. And then it says is equal to CS1 divided by n. Sorry, not divided by n. That's that was blanking, but that's just the n line, right? So that'd be equal to CS1. Okay, because what it's saying is we're outing CS divided by symbol, concatenating the number 3, and then concatenating is equal to CS1 and then an n line. Is CS1 even defined? It's not defined. That's just in a string. It's not an actual variable. So we're just straight up saying equal CS1. Yeah. What if modulo is larger? X 5 mod 10. If it's larger, then your answer is always going to be what's on the left side. So 5 mod 10 is 5, 2 mod 10 is 2, 0 mod, actually that wouldn't even work. 1 mod 10 is 1. Okay. 1 minute left. I think we might have to go over a bit. Can you go over C again? That's just saying that's no output because, again, with an AND operation, both sides have to be true. But in this case, both sides are false because X is not greater than Y. 2 X is 2, Y is 5, and Y is not greater than Z. 5 is not greater than 65. So we don't see out that line there. And we just continue. And that's why we put no output. Okay. And then line E says X. So let's put X, that'd be the number 2. Then it's the mod sign, then Y, and then it says, ooh, this is where they do a trick question. What do you guys think the answer is going to be here? Because I don't want to give it right away. This is a trick question. What do you guys think the answer will be for line E? 2 mod 5 is equal to X mod Y. There you go. 2 mod 5 is equal to X mod Y. And that's because, please, 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 on your exams, make sure you read your quotations. It says X, quotation mod, quotation Y, sorry, concatenate Y, concatenate quotation equal sign, concatenate quotation X mod Y. We're just completely concatenating the entire string X mod Y, and then we end line. In quotes, it is a direct output, exactly. Exactly, Peter. Okay. And that would be the answer for this question. Okay. Are there any questions about that? No
All right,
questions?
guys. A reminder to please don't forget to fill out the feedback form and the attendance form if you haven't done so. And there's also the link for the Discord study group. So please fill out these forms if you still want these sessions to continue throughout the semester. And thank you guys for showing up.
Yeah. And we didn't really have enough time to go over random numbers, so I will just give you guys this resource here. No problem, Jeffrey. That link there. I will also share that in the CS111 chat right here.
Also, don't forget that we host study sessions on Wednesday during free hours. So if you guys need more help, please feel free to show up during free hour this Wednesday. It starts at 12:15 till 1:30. So if you guys still have more questions, we have another tutor that's available there to help you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
And Ivan, we basically went over each question. We went over a fill in the blank, output, pattern, and full program. So we basically did everything. We did one of each that can show up on the exam. So I hopefully that helped you guys. But yeah, there's that resource that I sent for random numbers. We didn't have enough time to go over them. But if you need further explanation, I will be in this chat here for the Discord. So you can just at me. My name is Justin in the chat. I am the founder and president. So just go ahead to the 111 chat and you can ask whatever question you have there. Okay. Are there any last minute questions or anything like that? And also, again, make sure to fill out the attendance and feedback. No questions. Okay, so let me end my share screen.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yep, thank you so much, guys. No problem, no problem. All right, have a good one.
Have a good weekend and good luck, guys.
Bye bye, bye bye. Let me end the recording.